Hello and welcome to the 2022 Pisces Full Moon Community Ceremony presented by Wise Transformation. My name is Judy Keating, and I get to be the co-creative managing partner of Wise Transformation with the incredible Bonnie Salomon. We welcome you today as we prepare for the Pisces Full Moon, and want to let you know that we are two women intent on bringing elemental wisdom and feminine magic back into everyday life. Today's program is going to be about 50 minutes. I'm recording it remotely. Thank you for listening to the recording and preparing for the Pisces full moon. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of upcoming events. We're going to call in sacred space. We're going to use the Elemental Forces of Creation Oracle to get some ceremonial guidance. And of course, I'll talk to you a little bit about the timing. So let's get started. As many of you know, I absolutely love practicing and teaching an energy modality called crystalline consciousness technique. And part of my desire with crystalline consciousness is that it be out in the world as far and as wide as possible. One of the ways that I do that is I teach others to do this work for themselves and for their own clients, their own families, their own friends. And I'm having another basic professional training beginning on September 24th. And if you want information about that training, you can find it at wisetransformation.com. Another thing that I really adore doing is cultivating priestess work and priestesses in the world. So we are starting another circle of priestesses online on September 21st. This deep process of 10-month excavation of your inner self, a lunar initiation that you do by yourself, but you're not alone. You're doing it in circles. So you have your own unique journey, but you're doing it in circle with other women. And this process has such magic in it because it's not dictated by me. There are experiences that initiate you on the path of the process and that send you on a journey for your own answers and give you tools and guidance and specific ways that you can bring forth not only the wisdom but the action to make yourself fully in alignment with your version of the divine, whatever that may be. And Priestess has no dogma. It doesn't preclude or exclude any other religious beliefs. It is an archetype that we are bringing forward of a woman sovereign unto herself that follows her own deep intuition and wisdom to create the life that she wants, and then she utilizes that knowledge to support her community in whatever way is true for her. And there are as many different faces of priestess as there are women in the world. So it has been my pleasure to facilitate this work for many years now, and doing online circles and in-person circles. And the online communities are very unique because they're women from all around the world sometimes, and that creates just a unified circle in such an amazing way, because you wouldn't think that you could get to know someone very deeply through this process, but it's exactly what happens because of the safe container that we all create. So if this is of interest to you, you can go to wisetransformation.com. There are full details there. If either of the programs that we're offering currently are of interest to you, but you want to have a conversation with me, you can email me at judy@wisetransformation.com. So I just am looking forward to the fall. It's going to be beautiful. So let's open to the living field of creation. This is such a beautiful time of year. I'm a little bit more in the Northeast as I'm recording this, but in this part of North America, we're beginning to experience that beautiful transition from summer to fall. It's not quite fall yet, but it's getting closer. And so we just have an appreciation for the beauty of the wheel of the year. And we open to the living field of creation by acknowledging the gifts and miracle that is each of the elemental forces. Earth for the structure and form that she gives us, for the home that she creates for us, the beautiful, bountiful, miraculous place that we get to live. And a lot of where we get to live is covered by water, that deep, emotional, life-giving liquid that is the emotional realm as well as the sustenance that quenches our thirst. So we just acknowledge water and invite water to be with us today. And that powerful unseen force of air. We breathe it in, we breathe it out. It surrounds us, keeps us safe in an environment on the planet. And it is where all of our envisioning lives. That first spark of creativity comes from the imagination and being able to envision things. It gives us the ability to soar like an eagle in our perspective and to understand many, many esoteric teachings through meditation and prayer. So thank you, air. And fire. Fire like the sun. We would not be alive without that beautiful solar radiance that keeps us alive, keeps us warm, keeps our crops growing. Fire is such a transformative element and moves us into action, and we are so grateful for all that fire does to illuminate, to inspire, to give us passion. Thank you, fire. And certainly not lastly, because it's always first and foremost, but spirit, the divine of each of our understandings, that unseen force that binds creation, that allows us to have a relationship of a sacred nature with something bigger than ourselves. Thank you, Spirit. I just always feel better when we get to call in sacred space together, even if it's through the air realm on a recording. So thank you for doing the recording. Thank you for paying attention to this time and for taking time to determine and discern what is right for you at this time. It's really a beautiful thing. When we have a full moon, the full moon and the sun are in opposite archetypes, meaning that if you look at the wheel, they're opposite each other. So we have a beautiful Virgo sun and a Pisces full moon. And that's a really powerful combination. And it sparks a lot of renewing energy because it asks us to determine what our sacred work is that we need to be working on. And it also allows us to tap into deep compassion, deep connection to our fellow man, and deep connection to the divine all at the same time. So the Virgo archetype is an earth sign. It is in the 6th gate of awareness, and it teaches the significance of dedicated work, things that you have to do over and over and over again. It understands and honors patterns, timings, rhythms, and cycles. You can access the priestess within to honor the sacred and the natural world through ceremony and ritual. It's very organized, practical, dependable, productive, and hardworking. And it can handle a plethora of details in the earthly realm. And Virgo is dedicated to doing sacred work by being in service to the world. So whether you have Virgo in your chart or not, this is a time in North America where we are back to school. And so it's a time of redetermining what you're committing to. That even after you graduate from the school system, this time of year gives you sort of the itch to start learning something new and determine what is really sacred to you. And then we have Pisces, and Pisces teaches the importance of a compassionate heart. It feels the grief and suffering of humanity and responds with a loving, caring heart that heals. It's deeply spiritual, intuitive, and psychic. It serves the world by dreaming the visions of a peaceful planet and selflessly helping others to create a better life. It completely merges with humanity and the divine. So the combination of doing your sacred work in the world and being committed to a compassionate, caring, and loving heart is a very precious commodity in this world. It's a unique alchemical mix that we can tap into, and we can discern what those look like individually for us, and turning towards that at this time is incredibly powerful. So I just invite you to consider these energies as you determine what are you going to focus on in this full moon. You get to decide. You get to pick what right now is up and foremost for you that you would like help with from the elemental forces, from the timing itself. When we talk about the cards, you'll see how important aligning to this is. And just really give yourself a few minutes to ponder. What do you want to focus on in this time? I'm going to play a little music. Beautiful. If you ever need more time, you can pause the recording. But as I mentioned, we use the Elemental Forces of Creation Oracle in our calls. This is a deck that has been around for many years, created by Lisa Michaels. And she is going to be re-releasing the deck, I think under a new name. But when I know the details of that, I want to let you know in case you want to buy a deck for those people that don't have one. And we use this deck because a lot of people do have copies of the deck and they get to pull their own cards. So I pull cards for the collective from the deck based on what we're pondering. And you can utilize the card that I have, but if you have your own deck, I always encourage you to pull your own cards as we go. So you want to have your cards with you. And I'll tell you the cards that I pulled, and I also come up with a question just to sort of give some guidance around the call. And if the questions that I ask don't resonate for you, please ask the element itself what you need, or come up with a pondering question that you want to journal with for yourself. So as we turn to Earth, I pulled organic timing. And organic timing is the timing that Earth lives on, meaning that the seasons run from the other, night moves into day, but it does it in a very organic way. And we sometimes get caught up in what I call clock time or man-made time, and we think things should be moving faster or slower than they are actually moving. And when we're not working with organic time, it can cause a lot of distress and worry. So if we align with organic timing, which is part of what you're doing by being on this call, really, by paying attention to the full moon, it's very helpful. So because of the specific timing that we're in, being ordered and organized is sort of a very Virgo trait. And we want you to determine what's currently sacred for you. So I thought a good earth pondering question: what wants to be released from your physical environment to create space for what is currently sacred to you? And if that question doesn't resonate, just ask Earth what you need to know, or the archetypes what you need to know from Earth. The archetypes meaning Virgo and Pisces. If you need more time, don't hesitate to pause the recording. And we're going to move on to water. So when I pulled the water card, I got ebb and flow. And this is the card for the collective, meaning you can use it if you want to. If you have your own deck, again, I always encourage you to pull your own cards. But ebb and flow is all about releasing and receiving. Ebb and flow, allowing and inviting. So it is water in motion, just like energy in motion is emotions. When we have ebb and flow, things come and they go, give and receive, breathe in, breathe out. There's that natural ebb and flow to our energy and to our emotions. So when you think about yourself and your emotions, what is needed to have a compassionate heart and healthy boundaries at the same time? So if that resonates for you, ponder that at this time. What is needed to have both a compassionate heart and healthy boundaries? Okay, hopefully earth and water are giving you great information about how you can best utilize this Pisces full moon. Moving on to air. I pulled the perspective card. You know, our mental capacity is amazing, and a shift in perspective can make it incredibly magical. So that's the card that I pulled for the collective. So Air wanted me to ask what thoughts or beliefs create possibility for oneness in both your inner and outer world. What thoughts and beliefs create possibility for oneness in both your inner and outer world? So you can ponder that as it relates to whatever you determined you were focused on, what you want to get done the next couple of weeks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now we move from air to fire. And I pulled the illumination card. The question today is, what transformation is needed to be open to more of our psychic gifts? It's a powerful time for dreaming and to understand that you may get messages from the divine in the psychic realm, in your intuitive space. So what transformation is needed to be open to more of your psychic gifts at this time? That's the question that fire had today. So with that, take illumination if you need to, or pull your own card. See how that might inform what you get, what gets illuminated on the inner, and apply it to whatever you're focusing on. How does this support what you're focusing on for the Pisces full moon? Hopefully you're finding some great information for yourself and insight about what you want to focus on in this beautiful time. And we're moving to spirit. I pulled the Grace and Trust card. And what legacy is spirit helping you build is a possible question. You may have another question from spirit that wants to be asked at this time. When you ponder the combination of Virgo and Pisces, what do you get from spirit? What does spirit want you to know? And pull a card if you have the deck. And just let spirit speak to you about what they want you to know as you prepare to take action in this powerful sacred window. You may notice now that things start to come together. You're getting guidance from each of the elemental forces. So when you focus on what it is you want to accomplish, what you started with at the beginning of the call, what patterns do you see? What maybe you're developing a to-do list of some kind, or you know what the next right step will be, and you want to put it all together in a unified field, which just means you want to figure out how you can use this guidance so that you know what you are going to do in preparation here for the powerful time of the Pisces full moon. How can you use it to co-create with the divine, to move whatever you are compelled to do forward? Whatever it is you wanted to focus on, how can this help you? It doesn't have to be a complete everything kind of message. It's basically, okay, when I look at all the guidance I got from the elements, what is my big takeaway for today that I can apply and utilize to activate and enliven what is up for me? What is supposed to happen next? How can I move something forward? Or how can I take something away, whichever is true, in this particularly sacred window? So that's what you want to focus on. What's the big message you got overall? And you can't do this wrong. So just tap in and look at what you've got so far, and just say, okay, with all of this, I know that I am going to do X, or I know that I got guidance around Y. Okay, if you aren't finished, please stop the recording and take time for yourself. Just allow what wants to come forward for you, be available. And then tomorrow and the coming days, you can take action. That's what this is supposed to inspire, so you can move forward. And action doesn't always mean getting things done. Could mean releasing things, could mean resting more. Just you'll discern what's right for you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It's so important. And the work that you do helps the world. So thank you so much. So I'm excited. We have another wheel point coming up and quite a powerful one. Bonnie Salomon is going to be hosting the autumnal equinox community ceremony Wednesday, September 21st at 2 p.m. So we'll be sending out notifications around that. And you'll have the benefit, I guess, of 2 calls in a week because the wheel keeps turning. So Bonnie will do a beautiful community ceremony for autumnal equinox. And then the next day, I'm going to do a new moon in Libra call to prep for that. It's a couple of days ahead because it falls on a weekend. We want to get the recording out there. So I will see you live for anyone who wants to come, September 22nd at 3 p.m. Thank you again for taking the time to look at what is true for you with the elemental forces and the Virgo sun and Pisces full moon. We so appreciate you. Enjoy this magical time. Talk soon.